Type REC to bring up the rectangle tool and enter. Click onto the first base point, 35, 35, and enter. Type -15, tab, type -15 and enter. The box is now in the blue quadrant. Creating rectangles and squares using the tab keys separating the X and Y values may seem straightforward, but it can be confusing and hard to wrap the mind around. This video explains the process and how it works. During these demonstrations, the dynamic input is enabled and the dynamic mode is set to 3. This video tutorial demonstrates how to input X length and Y height values in separate fields using the tab key. This method allows for precise control over the dimensions of the rectangle or square as you draw it. A separate video will cover how to input these values using the comma. It is important to understand that the tab and comma keys operate differently when entering these values, so it's recommended to review both methods. For comma separation, refer to the next video. I will be using blue, yellow, green and pink quadrants. This will be from the first corner point or base point. Note that the positive and negative will operate differently than typical quadrants when applying the rectangle command. The blue is from 0 to 90 degrees, upper right. The yellow is from 90 to 180 degrees, upper left. The green is from 180 to 270 degrees, lower left. And the pink is from 270 to 360 degrees, lower right. When creating rectangles or squares, you will notice a matrix within these quadrants. The green area indicates positive values to be entered, while the red area signifies negative values. The position of the crosshairs within these quadrants determines the direction and sign, positive or negative, of the X and Y values and where the shape will eventuate. Throughout the process, the crosshairs are moved into different quadrants with the tab key used to separate the X and Y values. The central reference for positive and negative values is the second point or the position of the crosshairs. The positive and negative values and how they are used will affect the placement of the shape. Next are some examples to demonstrate this concept. Type REC and press Enter. Click on the base point at 35, 35 to set the first corner. Move the crosshairs into the yellow quadrant. Type 15, press Tab, then type 15 and press Enter. The square will appear in the yellow quadrant. Move to the pink quadrant. Again, type REC and press Enter. Set the first corner point at 35, 35 and press Enter. The crosshairs are now in the pink quadrant. Type 15 for the X value. Press Tab and type -15 for the Y value. The square will now be displayed in the blue area. By referring to the matrix, you can see that to move a square into the blue quadrant from pink, you enter a positive X value and a negative Y value. The matrix helps identify which values correspond to which quadrants. The matrix in the pink quadrant shows the blue area of that matrix being X positive and Y negative. The matrix in the blue quadrant shows the pink area of that matrix being X positive and Y negative. Type REC and press Enter. Set the first corner point at 35, 35, Enter. Type 15, Tab, 15, Enter to position the square in the green quadrant. By experimenting with positive and negative values, you can observe how the rectangle or square appears in different quadrants. The Tab key allows toggling between the X, Y fields to change values as needed. Here are some more examples. Type REC and Enter. 35, 35, Enter. To move a square from the yellow quadrant to the pink quadrant, enter negative values for both the X and Y as shown in the matrix. Go to the X value and type -15, Tab. Go to the Y value and type -15, Tab. Once the square is in the pink quadrant, the values become positive, and you can toggle between the X and Y values using the Tab key. Tab, 10, Tab, 10, Enter. When in the pink quadrant, entering negative values for both the X and Y will place the square in the yellow quadrant, where the values again become positive. Type REC, Enter. 35, 35, Enter. Go to the X value and type -10, Tab. Go to the Y value and type -10, Tab. Go to the X value and type 12, Tab. Go to the Y value and type 8, Enter. Adjusting these values can transform the square into the rectangle if desired. Moving a square from blue to green requires entering negative values for both X and Y. Once placed, these values will also turn positive in the new quadrant. Type REC, Enter. 35, 35, Enter. -20, Tab. -20, Tab. To move the square back into the blue area and create a rectangle, enter negative values for X and Y and press Enter. -15, Tab. -10, Enter. The positive and negative X and Y values are always referenced from the crosshairs, the second corner point. Regardless of whether you input negative or positive values, once the shape is created in the new quadrant, the values will be displayed as positive. This demonstration should help clarify how to use the rectangle tool with the Tab key to separate X and Y, and how the matrix of the coloured fields determines the placement and orientation of the rectangle or square. For more information on using the comma to separate values, refer to my next video on this subject. Just to reiterate, the positive and the negative are based around the crosshairs, which is the second corner point. Regardless of if the X and Y values that were input were negative, these values, once sent into the new quadrant, will turn positive. I hope this video helps. Please subscribe. If you can support me, you can on Buy Me a Coffee. I have a link in my description. Thank you for your support. Next week, the creation of a rectangle using the comma.